Today we're talking about one of the world's most beloved animals, the koala. Those adorable fuzzy tree huggers from Australia that look like living teddy bears. Except here's the thing, behind that cute face is possibly the most dysfunctional, disease-ridden, barely surviving mammal on the planet. Let me explain why being a koala is actually a waking nightmare. Imagine this. Your only food source is literally poisonous and has almost no nutrition. You sleep 22 hours a day because you don't have enough energy to stay awake. You have one of the smoothest brains in the mammal kingdom, meaning you're incredibly stupid. Oh, and 80% of your species has chlamydia. Yeah, that chlamydia. The sexually transmitted disease. Except for koalas, it's everywhere. It's devastating and it's slowly wiping you out. Being cute doesn't save you from being a biological disaster. Let's start with your diet, because this is where everything goes wrong. You eat eucalyptus leaves. Only eucalyptus leaves. And eucalyptus leaves are toxic. They contain compounds that are literally poisonous to most mammals. But you've evolved to eat them anyway because, well, nobody else wanted them. You found the one food source that nothing else would touch and said, this is fine. Except it's not fine. Here's the problem. Eucalyptus leaves have almost zero nutritional value. They're fibrous, toxic, and give you barely any calories or protein. It's like living on a diet of poisonous cardboard. So you have to eat a ton of them just to survive. And even then, you're constantly malnourished and exhausted. Your entire digestive system is dedicated to processing this toxic garbage. You have a specialized gut with bacteria that can break down the toxins, but it takes so much energy that you literally can't do anything else. Which brings us to the sleep problem. You sleep 22 hours per day. Not because you're lazy, because you physically don't have enough energy to be awake. Your diet is so nutritionally bankrupt that consciousness is too expensive. You wake up, eat poisonous leaves for 4 hours, then immediately pass out again because eating exhausted you. That's your entire life. Eat poison, sleep, repeat. Now let's talk about your brain, or what's left of it. Koalas have one of the smoothest brains of any mammal. And in brain terms, smooth stupid. Most mammals have wrinkled brains. Those wrinkles are cortical folds that increase surface, area, and processing power. More wrinkles, smarter animal. Your brain, smooth as a bowling ball. Barely any folds at all. You're so dumb that if someone takes eucalyptus leaves off a branch and puts them on a plate in front of you, you won't recognize them as food. You can only eat leaves that are on branches. If they're not attached to the tree, your brain can't process that they're edible. Researchers have literally watched koalas starve to death next to piles of eucalyptus leaves because the leaves weren't on branches. You're so stupid you can't adapt to the most basic changes in your environment. And here's why. Your brain used to be bigger. Your ancestors had normal mammal brains, but your terrible diet provided so little nutrition that your brain literally shrank over evolutionary time. Your skull is too big for your brain now. There's a gap. Your brain just floats in there, cushioned by cerebrospinal fluid rattling around uselessly. You sacrificed intelligence for the ability to eat poison, and you're still barely surviving. Okay? Now we need to talk about the elephant in the room. Or rather the STD in the eucalyptus tree, chlamydia. In some koala populations, up to 80–90% of individuals are infected with chlamydia. It's not just an epidemic, it's basically universal. And this isn't just uncomfortable, it's devastating. Koala chlamydia causes blindness, yes, your eyes become infected and you go blind. Infertility, the infection destroys reproductive organs. Painful urinary tract infections, imagine peeing with a UTI that never goes away. Dirty tail. Syndrome, exactly as gross as it sounds. Chronic diarrhea and infection. Death from organ failure and secondary infections. Infected females often become completely infertile. Males develop scarred, dysfunctional reproductive organs. Baby koalas, joeys, get infected from their mothers. It's passed sexually, through birth, and even just through close contact. Because you're constantly stressed and malnourished from your terrible diet, your immune system can't fight it off. So you're just living with it, in constant pain, going blind, unable to reproduce, slowly dying. Researchers are desperately trying to develop vaccines and treatment programs, but the disease is so widespread it's nearly impossible to control. You're literally being wiped out by an STD epidemic while the world watches and goes, cute koala. Let's talk about your reproduction, because somehow it gets worse. Female koalas give birth to tiny, underdeveloped joeys about the size of a jelly bean. The joey has to crawl from the birth canal into the mother's pouch where it latches onto a teat and stays there for months. So far, kind of normal for marsupials. But here's where it gets horrifying. Once the joey is old enough to start transitioning from milk to solid food, it needs to eat eucalyptus leaves. But remember, eucalyptus is toxic. The joey's gut doesn't have the bacteria needed to process the toxins yet. So how does the mother solve this problem? She produces a special substance called PEP, which is basically partially digested eucalyptus leaves mixed with her own fecal matter. And the joey eats it. Directly from her cloaca, your babies have to eat your poop in order to survive. This transfers the gut bacteria needed to digest eucalyptus. It's horrifying but necessary because your diet is so specialized and toxic that babies literally can't process it without ingesting their mother's intestinal bacteria via feces. And if the mother has chlamydia, guess what? The joey gets infected during this process or through birth. So you're born, you eat your mom's poop to survive, you probably get chlamydia, and then you spend your life sleeping, 22 hours a day eating poison until you die. And just when you thought things couldn't get worse, let's talk about climate change and habitat loss. You can only eat eucalyptus leaves from specific eucalyptus species, not all eucalyptus-specific types. You're that specialized. But droughts, fires, and habitat destruction are killing eucalyptus forests across Australia. The 2019-2020 Australian bushfires killed an estimated 60,000 koalas, nearly 30% of the population in some regions. And because you're so slow and stupid, you can't escape fires. You just sit in the tree while it burns. Firefighters have found koalas clinging to charred trees, refusing to leave even as everything around them is destroyed. Your habitat is shrinking. Your food source is disappearing. You can't adapt because you're too specialized and too dumb. Climate change is literally killing the trees you need to survive, and you don't have the intelligence or energy to adjust. Oh, and despite being cute and cuddly looking, you're actually pretty aggressive. Male koalas have a horrifying mating call that sounds like a demon being strangled. It's one of the most disturbing sounds in nature, a deep, guttural rattling bellow that echoes through the forest. Males fight each other violently during mating season, scratching and biting. You have sharp claws designed for climbing, but you'll absolutely use them on other koalas. And if a human tries to handle you, you'll scratch the hell out of them. You're not friendly, you're just too tired to move most of the time. Wildlife rescuers have to wear thick gloves, because koalas will absolutely shred you if they're scared or annoyed. So you're cute, but you're also kind of a demon, with chlamydia, and a smooth brain, eating poison, barely surviving. Here's the tragic reality. Koalas are so specialized and so poorly adapted to change that they're completely dependent on human intervention to survive. You can't live anywhere except specific eucalyptus forests in Australia. You can't eat anything except eucalyptus leaves. You can't process those leaves without specific gut bacteria. You can't fight off disease because your diet doesn't give you enough nutrition for a functioning immune system. You're an evolutionary dead end. You've specialized yourself into a corner so tight that the slightest environmental change threatens your entire species. Conservationists are working around the clock, treating chlamydia, replanting forests, rescuing injured koalas, running breeding programs. Without humans, you'd be extinct within decades. You're adorable, you're iconic, and you're completely incapable of surviving on your own. So let's recap what it's like being a koala. Your only food is poisonous and nutritionally worthless. You sleep 22 hours a day because eating exhausted you. You have one of the smoothest, dumbest brains in the mammal kingdom. You're so stupid you can't recognize food if it's not on a branch. 80-90% of your species has chlamydia. The chlamydia causes blindness, infertility, chronic pain, and death. Your babies have to eat your poop to survive. You're too slow and dumb to escape wildfires. Climate change is destroying your only habitat. You're aggressive despite looking cuddly. You're completely dependent on humans to not go extinct. You're proof that being cute doesn't mean being successful. You're an evolutionary cautionary tale wrapped in adorable fur. Beat. Nature looked at koalas and said specialize or die, and koalas said both. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed learning why koalas are adorable disasters, hit that like button and subscribe for more Why It Sucks to Be Ain't videos. Next time, why it sucks to be a sloth. Spoiler. Half of all sloth deaths happen while they're pooping. Drop a comment. What's worse? Eating poison for your entire life or having an 80% chance of getting chlamydia? Tough choice. See you in the next one, and remember, don't be fooled by cute faces.